amazing families of Peoria Nazarene. Welcome to our weekly family devotional, Treasuring Scripture in Your Heart. Now, before we start today's devotional, let's recite last week's memory verse, Romans chapter 4, verse 3. So wherever you're at, children and parents, recite this verse with me out loud and do the motions along with me. For the scriptures tell us, Abraham believed God, and God counted him as righteous because of his faith. Romans chapter 4, verse 3. The big summer trip my family would go on when I was younger was a trip to Six Flags. Six Flags is this theme park with big roller coasters. I remember the first time we went, I was so excited to ride the roller coasters, but once we got into the park, I got in line and I came face to face with one of those roller coasters. I was afraid. I even turned back a couple times until finally my brothers convinced me of a roller coaster I could handle, the American Eagle. And on this particular day, the American Eagle was going backwards. And so I got in the roller coaster, but for the entire ride, I had my eyes clenched shut, my hands squeezing the bar in front of me with my head down. I was so afraid. But once I got out of the roller coaster, I said, I rode a roller coaster. I did it. I felt so accomplished because I rode that great, big, scary roller coaster. In the Bible, there's a story about Jesus and his disciples who get caught in the middle of a storm while riding on a boat. Much scarier than riding on a roller coaster. So Jesus and his disciples get on this boat. They go out on this boat and they're sailing, and then all of a sudden a great storm comes their way and the disciples are afraid. So the disciples, they're slipping and sliding all over the boat. They're scared for their lives. Meanwhile, Jesus is down in the boat taking a snooze. Jesus is fast asleep with his head resting on a cushion. So the disciples, they go to Jesus and wake him up saying, Master, Master, do you not care that we're about to die? And so Jesus wakes up, he goes up, he stands up on the boat, looks out towards the water and says, hush. And just like that, the storm stopped and it was calm. Jesus turns to his disciples and asks them, where is your faith? And now the disciples are even more afraid. The storm was scary, but now they're in the presence of the one who is the master of the wind, the one who says stop, and wind and rain obeys him. He says stop, and storms stop. Who is this man? The only one who can control wind, clouds, rain, and storms is God. Exactly. Jesus is God. Jesus is God. And if you know Jesus, then there is nothing you need to be afraid of. When you place your faith in Jesus, you can know God. You can have a relationship with the almighty, all-powerful creator of the universe. The one who tells storms, go there, and storms, stop here. You can know that God, the one true God. And that brings us to our weekly memory verse. Our weekly memory verse today is bigger than the other ones. It's going to take more work to memorize, but it's one of my favorite verses. It's Romans chapter 8, verse 38. Romans chapter 8, verse 38. And we broke this down into 3 parts to help you memorize it. So, wherever you're at, children and parents, recite this verse with me out loud and do the motions along with me. Romans chapter 8, verse 38, starting with part number 1. And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Part 1 again. And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Now part 2. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither our fears for today nor our worries about tomorrow. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither our fears for today nor our worries about tomorrow. Now part 1 and 2 together. And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither our fears for today nor our worries about tomorrow. And now part 3. Not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love. Not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love. Now part 1, 2, and 3 all together. Here we go. Romans chapter 8, verse 38. And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither our fears for today nor our worries about tomorrow. Not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love. Romans 8, verse 38. Children, parents, grandparents, write out Romans chapter 8, verse 38 on a flashcard on one side, then write out the verse on the other side. And work to memorize this every single day so that you can practice the art of treasuring Scripture in your heart. And when you're afraid, you can remind yourself of Romans chapter 8, verse 38, that whatever happens to you and whatever happens around you, God still unconditionally loves you. And He is the one who can stop storms. And when God doesn't stop storms, you can rest assured in God's perfect knowledge and power. He's always working for your good and for His glory. Well, now at this time, I want to encourage you all to go over the 2 family discussion questions as a family and then do the family prayer activity. I'm so glad I got to join you for this week's family devotional, Treasuring Scripture in Your Heart.